Welcome back to TotallyT, your solutions girl. Today we're going to go over safety training part 5, where they are that you are not. That sounds pretty scary, and yes, it can be. But let's not do this to scare you, but to awaken you and get your minds going. So the disclaimer: there is no guarantee that nothing of a serious nature will ever happen to you or a loved one. This series is intended to awaken your critical thinking, become more aware of your surroundings, and inspire you to create your own plans of action with your family. So let's start with babysitting. Well, of course, you're not there if you hired a babysitter, correct? I got this from John Walsh. He has a show on TV called In Pursuit. And when I saw this, I was really baffled, and this was the perfect place to make you aware of what goes on or what can go on. Colorado babysitter accused of multiple, and yes, you see it on the screen. I've got to be very careful of my choice of words. So in a scenario of really what happened is there was this young teenage boy who he as a, I guess you could say, a teenage boy does have credentials to be a babysitter. And he wanted to babysit toddlers because that's what was in the neighborhood, and he was an Eagle Scout. He does well in school. He's learning multiple languages. He's an artist. And he was also recommended by a law enforcement person that is now mentoring him in police work. So he did have what seemed to be really good, quote unquote, credentials to babysit. What happened was some of the parents were starting to be alerted to the way that their toddlers were acting when this young man came back over after he had babysat, and they started looking more and more into it, and you can see on the headlines what it is. Now, I would suggest go to In Pursuit Tips. Just go ahead and put inpursuittips.com. You'll find out who this person was. He is at large and has been for many, many years. And he could be living anywhere across the planet because he is very smart and he is fluent in multiple languages. You will be able to see what he looks like now in one of those aged photos of what he could be looking like now. But the point of this is we don't always really know who's babysitting our children. So you really need to don't get a babysitter, or get someone you can trust, like grandma. Now, schools. This link will also be in the description box. Oh, I'll put that link with In Pursuit. I'll put that in the description box as well. But this one for, if you look at the link, you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. But there are things that happen in your schools, and this one from the state of Texas actually wrote up how to recognize this going on in your schools, any possible things that could be going on. Now, also, being a teenager, you've gone through this, you're a parent, think about different things that happened when you were on field trips, maybe after school practices, or even after the after game parties. And that is something that, well, that's where they are, that you're not, possibly. So I'm going to get into deeper. I'm pretty sure you can figure out what you need to do in those scenarios. Let's move to the next one. Is actually what's being taught in the schools. Have you missed out on anything that's being taught? Maybe there have been some messages coming home to you or emailed to you that you didn't even know about. So look what's going on with the Austin ISD. Texas school, this is from a headline, and this will link will be in the description box as well. Texas school district to teach middle schoolers about, and I'm not going to read it, you can read it, it's right there. The curriculum includes role-playing scenarios about specific type of encounters. Yeah, that was passed last quarter. Yeah, I'm giving you a moment to think about that. Role-playing scenarios. My goodness, this is sick. Just sick. So is this being taught at your school? If not, it's coming. If it starts in one school, it goes to the rest of them. And if not, excuse me, if it's not being taught in your school right now, guess what? Students know about it, and they know other students that are all over the place, and they talk. Kids love to talk about what's most shocking, and they're going to share that info very quickly. So you need to know what is being taught so you can make sure that your child gets the most accurate information and you are able to exercise your parental rights. Also, what is being taught in each subject of the school? Is it different than what you learned? It's a good idea to see what your kids are learning and what they go through every day. Some schools make the kids watch a certain amount of mainstream news and then they discuss it. That's called current events. Wouldn't you like to know how your child's mind is being shaped? If you don't show up, you won't know. So show up and do it randomly. Hey, stay all day. Nobody's going to expect that. Would anybody expect you to show up the next day also? Wow, that's going to blow their minds. Your kids probably aren't going to like it so much, but it's very important. If all parents were to do that, even with possibly a coordinated schedule of what parent is going to school and on which days, if anything were going on at the schools, couldn't that help by just your showing up? And the most shocking of this is the Hampstead Kids. And if you don't know what that is, you can actually look it up. There's hours and hours and hours of videos that you can find on this. But caution, it's very dark, it's very sick, but I will give you a little synopsis. So if you choose to look into it further, that is up to you. But what I will put in the description box is the interrogator of these kids. And it's his professional assessment as to the truthfulness of their statements. So here's a little synopsis. What would you think if both kids were under the age of 10 and they were able to do the following? Describe each teacher's piercings and tattoos exactly the same and other things that they actually should have no knowledge of. They're too young to really know addresses, but they're able to take you to homes and describe the inside of the homes perfectly. They can tell you how to find secret doors, what's behind them, and what happens there. And there are days on end of more and more details with plenty of evidence to back what they were saying. Would you believe them? This is the importance of showing up everywhere that your kids are, that you are not. That would also mean kids' organizations and churches and other places. They want to be where your kids are and also in a position of authority, because kids listen to them. People that prey upon your kids will not seem like predators, most likely. They will be kind and sweet and fun and maybe even very popular with the kids. But you've got to remember this, grooming can happen over a very long period of time. And if anything is going on, the longer it goes on, the easier it is for them to hide because they want to bury that secret and they don't want to show any signs. So you need to show up and show up often. So please go back and watch at least part 4. That's on house rules, because who are you inviting into your home? And if you can judge the reaction of how they perceive your house rules, that tells you a lot. So go through the house rules and you're going to learn a lot with that one as well. Stay tuned for more in the series coming related to this. As to where they are that you are not, would be social media and online games. To receive notifications, because when that comes out, you're going to want to know it's there. Make sure to click subscribe and then click the notification bell right after that. If you click the notification bell, you'll see a selection above that says all, and click on that. By hitting the like button on this video, it will actually reach more people. Help wake them up. Click the like button now and share it everywhere that you can. Check the description box for more information under this video. This has been TotallyT, your Solutions Girl.